Live on the
Hi.
internet. Hey, it's
Can you
Tommy.
believe it?
What a time to be alive. It's Tommy from Eurovoxx, and I'm joined by Stu in Canada and Sanya in Croatia. Hi, guys, how are you doing?
Hola, I'm doing well. How are
Hola a
you?
todos.
I'm doing good, but I'm a bit overexcited after the night that we've just had. We've had a very, very exciting first semi-final for Benidorm Fest, the festival that we've que- queremos and that we've been waiting for and that we have been very excited about. So before I go and say hello to some of the guys in the chat, what is your first reaction to the Benidorm Fest, the first semi-final, and our first glimpse of how the show is looking? I'll go to you, Stu.
Well, I think it was a good show overall. I think this is, first and foremost, we were given such great songs to start off with that have really restored faith in the Spanish selection. So going into it, I think, there was a lot of excitement, and I think what they delivered met people's expectations. I do think that, there are certain things that I was kind of expecting to be a little bit better as far as some of the stage concepts and everything. But I also accept that, this is the first time that they're doing this. I think it's absolutely at the level that it should be as far as putting on an entertaining program, especially when it came to the voting sequence too. Like that was really exciting. So yeah, I'm very pleased with what happened, and I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow and to Saturday as well to see who advances to the final and who is our winner in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was super, super slick in terms of when you think of the fact that they've set up that whole arena within a tennis stadium, I think, somewhere in
Hmm.
Benidorm or
Mhm.
some kind of sports arena, and it looked pretty, pretty slick. And yeah, it was quite an enjoyable show. Sanya, what were your thoughts on the whole presentation?
Yeah, I'm positively surprised by the look of the stage. I really like it. It looks really great, and I have to agree with Stu, all you said. And I would just add that it made me happy to see the audience, the cheering up contestants, and all the atmosphere around these days watching press conferences and all Instagram stories of contestants from Benidorm. It creates some atmosphere that we missed. That's a little bit Eurovisionary atmosphere, and I think they've accomplished it. They wanted to do it, and they did it in the end. So I'm
Hmm.
excited to see what comes next tomorrow and on Saturday.
Yeah, and we don't have long to wait, as you said, the second semi-final
Yeah.
tomorrow. So let's say hello to our friends in the live chat. DJ Parody, Sarah Halloran, hello, how are you doing? I hope you enjoyed the show. You have to say Terra's song is amazing. I think a lot of people will agree with you, and we'll have to talk in more depth about how Terra did tonight.
Hmm.
Little John UK also saying Terra could win Eurovision. I think there's a lot of people who are thinking that. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's for sure. Samuel, hello Samuel. You thought the show was perfect. Awesome, very good. We have Dan Clam 1796. So I guess Terra is not winning since the juries hate it.
Let's
Okay,
talk about that.
let's let's unpack that.
Yeah, so firstly, if you really look at the points, it was close. No, it wasn't a favorite. And I think one of the things that we were discussing was that we felt a little bit let down by it. And I don't think it has anything to do with their performance as far as how they were vocally. But as far as like a visual presentation, my attitude is that it was not really made with the kind of approach that a television performance should be made with, which is a bit understandable. That's one of the learning curves for a lot of people when they're approaching Eurovision for the first time. But yeah, I have to say that was a real drawback for me. I am a big fan of Terra and Tanxungueiras, and obviously they have been such a tremendous force to be reckoned with when it's come to this selection in general. But after seeing that, I am not as excited about it as I was before. And it's a shame because I really love them as a group, but I definitely was let down. I felt like what they had there was really mixing up the focal point too much to the point where it was hard to know where to look. And a well orchestrated visual performance will have that thought out to a T, much like Blanca Paloma's was, where it's all about her. So yeah, I that was one of the aspects where I was let down. And let's just keep in mind that it's not like they tanked it with the juries. They missed it by 1 point. They were 1 point
Yeah.
below. Was it Varry Brava, I believe, and
Varry Brava and Azucar Moreno.
Azucar Moreno. So it was close. It was don't spread these rumors that like the juries hate Tanxungueiras. It's not the case.
Yeah, and I think probably we all get like wrapped up in our own hype, and we get into our own echo chamber in terms of we know who the favorite is, and we haven't even seen the live performance yet, so
Mm-hmm.
everything is open to change. Sanya, what was your reaction to the Terra performance?
It was before the show my favorite song of the 6 songs we saw tonight. And I also wasn't 100% satisfied with the staging. A lot of things were happening in the same time, as Stu said. It was a bit of, I don't know, messy, if it's the term to describe it. But some one curious things happened during their performance. My sister came in the room, my younger sister, who doesn't really watch Eurovision, but with me she needs to watch it, and she said, "Oh, this reminds me of Ukraine this year," and I think it's a good sign. So we all knew
Oh,
how Ukraine went with the public. So I think that is a good sign, but. I don't know. One thing happened with Terra that happened to me last year on Dora with Nina Kraljic with her song Rijeka. The
Mm-hmm.
song is so much stronger than the staging itself. Also, a lot of things were happening with her staging last year. So I think they wanted to mix dancers, their choreography, I don't know, some things on LED screen. We really didn't know where to watch, and we didn't have time to stop and enjoy their performance, their great vocalists, all 3 of them, and we quite lost the song in everything that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. So when I took some notes while I was watching it, and actually I was super impressed. I guess I didn't really consider in advance what I thought their staging should be or what it could look like. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I actually kind of enjoyed that there was so much movement on the stage. There was there was nobody standing still for a very long period of time, and I like the addition of the dancers. It's like a dancing style I'd never seen before, but obviously is part of the Celtic influence on the band. And yeah, I can see how people may think that it was a bit too much and a bit busy, but for me, it kind of worked and stayed true to the like nature of the song. So um, yeah, but I guess everybody has their own expectations, and then you see what happens, and
Mm-hmm. And
it's what I think.
And let's keep in mind too that obviously, again, they're such huge favorites that they really could still win this. And if they were to bring this to Eurovision, because I really don't know what the technical setup is there, but with Eurovision, you would have pre-programmed cameras, and everything would be synced to a time code. So there really would be an opportunity to elevate it, and therefore, like, we're not. I wouldn't necessarily call this one dead by any means. It still has
No.
impact. It's got lots of potential. It's just that on this night, with the choices that they made, I was certainly a bit let down. But again, I love them. I think they're a great band.
I mean, they still are my favorites from all the performances we've seen tonight. So after a not so satisfying staging, still the best because the song is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And Sanya, so any other shocks from the results tonight? Anything that you found particularly shocking?
I see a lot of people are mentioning Chanel and or Chanel, how do they say it? And she was expected to be, as I read on the Facebook groups and social media fans who were fans from Eurovision, that she could be like a dark horse, like Fureira was. And I was thinking, okay, maybe it could happen, but I have one small or maybe big problem with it, that I don't like the most important part of her song, and it's the chorus. I am not a fan of repetitive mo mo lo lo and this. I just can't. So the song is okay, but her performance was, let's say, Tanxungueiras had the best song for me, and she really did have the best performance, the most complete one, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Stu, what are you thinking about Booty Hypnotic Slo Mo?
Well, I do like what you just said, Sanya, as far as it being the most complete performance. That's absolutely how I feel, and I think it has a lot of the reason. It has a lot to do with why she won this semifinal. She came out with the top score, and it was totally deserved. And like personally, it's far from a favorite of mine. I do enjoy it, and I think that in the music there are really certain things that jump out to me, but they mostly pertain to like the production. And I guess that I kind of was a little bit distant from this because this is very characteristic of Eurovision, I have to say, and especially the comparisons to Eleni Foureira, I saw it like right away, and you know, in a good way. But yeah, you know, I think it's totally deserved. I still wouldn't necessarily choose this to go to Eurovision because I feel like some of the other songs that we have and some of the other songs that we are yet to see could go further. But I have to say, again, it was deserved. It was a real surprise to see just how together and how magnetic she was, because you just can't look away from her. She was fantastic.
I have to completely agree. I mean, this was one of my skip songs in the run up to Benidorm Fest, but having seen it live, this was like the biggest surprise for me. This was the biggest shock. I literally screamed when I saw the performance. I was like, I hope my neighbors aren't like trying to sleep. But I thought it was just
it's Spain. Everybody goes to bed at 1 a.m. Don't worry about it.
And
It's
everyone's
already
watching
dread.
Benidorm. I hope so.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I just thought it was sensational. I mean, she was such a professional. The choreography she was doing was absolutely nuts. So intricate, so much movement, so much
Mhm.
flexibility. She didn't miss a beat. Her vocals were still reasonably good, you know. And I especially liked the special effects they were using, like the strobe lighting with the slow motion effect. I'd never seen something like that before. And for me, I mean, this has gone from like a meh song that I didn't really care if it qualified or not into the final on Saturday
Yeah.
to, okay, this is one of my favorites and I will not be upset if this wins. I'd be very happy actually.
Mhm.
But having said that, looking at the other contestants that qualified to the final tonight, what did you guys think of Varry Brava? Was that one of your expected qualifiers? I'll go to you, Stu.
So I was really on the fence about like going into Benidorm Fest. I really liked their song, but the question for me was how they were going to tell the story of Raffaella, because I mean, some people may not know, but Raffaella is an Italian singer and presenter who was involved a lot in Spain and in Latin America, and she was involved with the selections for Eurovision. And so the question that I had in my mind was, are they going to be able to convey that story, and are they going to do it in a way that you know, properly demonstrates the heart behind the song, and not to make it a joke. And while I don't think that they completely did it, I still feel like their qualification is certainly deserved, because when compared to some, you know, the two non-qualifiers, I think that their shortcomings were a little bit bigger. And so I am very happy to see them go to the final, because you know, it's a funky song that's lots of fun, and it's a really touching tribute to someone who touched the lives of so many people.
Sanya, what are your thoughts on the song Raffaella?
I'm happy they made it to the finals. It's one of the songs that I never skip on my playlist when listening songs from Benidorm, because it's I don't know, it's a feel good song that I'm not sure of their chances if they go with Eurovision with this song, but it's the one that I'll still continue to listen after Benidorm. So I guess I'm okay with them qualifying.
I have to say, personally, I found it a bit cringe. For me, it was verging on the dad dancing element of performance. I wasn't really a fan of the song to begin with, so I guess I was biased from the get-go. But yeah, and I also can't get past the fact that the lead singer was reminding me of Ali G. So Sacha Baron Cohen had a character on UK TV a very long time ago. It's like Ali G. But yeah, I mean, I think they gave a great opener and really set the stage quite well in terms of like getting the audience going, and that was quite good. But having said that, there is one standout performance as well that we have to talk about tonight, and that is Blanca Paloma, Secreto de Agua. Guys, that was just stunning. Stu, what are your thoughts on Blanco's performance?
Yeah, I mean, stunning is the perfect word for it. It was just really, you know, those 3 minutes went by in a blink, because you're just so, again, hypnotized by her. What we said in our recap video was that she is the voice of Benidorm Fest this year, and it's absolutely true. I do feel like, again, it is a concept that could be elaborated on a little bit more if she were to go to Eurovision. I mean, the results that we've seen tonight maybe cast some doubt onto that possibility, but anything could change. Obviously we'll have a different viewing audience on Saturday as well. And hopefully it will be a bigger show too. But yeah, I was very impressed. I was very drawn in by it, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah, I really thought she really created an atmosphere within the stadium, and it was really to do with the staging, I believe, because everything was blanked out. It was very dark. There was very little lighting. Even at some parts, you couldn't see her face at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the water effects were quite effective. It looked like a Spanish river dance. It was reminding me of in terms of the look and feel. But I mean, it was just stunning. It was so impactful. Sanya, what were your thoughts on Blanca's performance?
I love it. She just, I think, when you see her singing and performing, she just takes you to her universe.
Excuse me.
Someone agrees or disagrees?
I think she agrees.
That's
I
excitement.
think Blanca Paloma took us all to her own universe of all all things that she experienced on stage. We could experience it with her. The similar thing happened to me with Barbara Pravi this year, for example. It's that kind of a performance. It's not too similar, but we could see some similarities. And I really, really love the song, and I hope it will be, I don't know, top 3, if not even win, but we'll see.
Mhm.
It really seems like she's in that territory. We have a question here from Philip, who is wondering, what do we think about the thoughts of Salvador Sobral about Tanxungueiras? I think I may have missed something around that period. So was
Did he
Salvador
say
Sobral interviewed, or?
they're his favorites, or
So
not sure?
basically, after he finished playing, I'm pretty sure he said "Vaya Tanchus, vaya por ellos,"
Um,
which is basically, go for it. Like, you guys are the ones, right? I
Ah,
mean, we know that Salvador is an outspoken guy, and that's one of the reasons why he's disliked by some people and liked by others. I mean, I think that's great that he very clearly shows his support for who he likes. I appreciate that he was able to do that without tearing down other people. So yeah, I mean, no, that's great. It's great
he's
to see
evolving.
that he. What's that?
He's evolving.
He's evolving. And it also makes sense too, because Galician is very close to Portuguese. I mean, and that might have nothing to do with it, but if using all the kind of palettes at my disposal, yeah, it's very possible that that's something that piqued his interest. And yeah, it's very interesting because Galician is kind of in this middle ground where, if let's say that you speak either Portuguese or Spanish, or both, then it really makes sense, because I mean, it's not too far from either of them, but it really does feel like that in between. And geographically, that's where it is, between Castile Leon and Portugal. So yeah, no, that's great that he gave his support to them.
Yeah, I guess he naturally feels invested because of that connection, between the languages. So we have a very, very pertinent point from Tris 2000. So I thought the way that they announced the votes was poor and took away a lot of the excitement. It blew my mind. I was completely excited, but I didn't expect that they would give any results tonight. I thought they would just, similar to Eurovision, they would just say these are the four
yeah.
people who have qualified. What were your thoughts on that, and what do you think that kind of informs us about what's going to happen on Saturday, and in some ways maybe spoils it, or? Do you think that it could potentially change between now and Saturday? I'll go to you, Sanya.
Maybe it spoils it for us for a bit, but also one thing that I see happening, as I see, I don't know, the public vote went to Tanxungueiras, if I'm correct, and
Mhm.
there the public could see, okay, they don't get so much support from the juries. We can vote more, for example, or I don't know, fans from
Yeah.
Chanel could see, okay, she's in a good place to win. Let's vote. So let's get her chances even higher. So I think it may be useful for a general audience to see how to vote if they get scared that their favorites won't make it. But I don't know. It took some suspense from us. I didn't really like that they revealed it so detailed. I don't know.
Yeah. Stu, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the approach that they had it will work great in the final because that's obviously when we're getting the winner. And I believe the reason why in Eurovision you don't get the full results of the semifinals until afterwards is because they don't want to encourage strategic voting, which as you touched upon, Sanya, is a possibility when you see the actual breakdown of the numbers. It is still a question as to like how much can any group of people, no matter how hard they campaign, really influence the vote. And let's hope that people are only going to vote with their hearts and for the song that they really like the most, and that will be representative across the board. But for that reason, it also makes me happy that there's a 50% jury and 25% demoscopic jury, because that should at least be a way to help negate that kind of bad faith voting, which really has no place here.
Yeah, and Yusuf raises an interesting point about the voting and the breakdown and the contribution of votes. So, Yusuf, you'll never understand why they gave the expert jury 50% when the festival is supposed to be what you want, and the televote should be 50%. So that is quite interesting. So we have 5 jurors who are making 50% of the votes. What do you guys think of that? Do you think it's a sensible approach? I guess that's what happens in Eurovision also.
It is. I guess the concern is that the jury is, well, I mean, there's always a concern when it comes to juries, let's be honest. But I do take the point that perhaps the jury is a bit too small, because it leaves a lot of control up to 5 people. And yeah, when it comes to Eurovision, sure, there's 5 people per country, but all their votes are accumulated. So, maybe in the future, like keeping in mind that things are still kind of hectic right now as far as the pandemic and what you can and can do. In the future, maybe it would be better to either expand the jury to have more members and therefore include more opinions, or to shift to more of a Sanremo model where it's the divisions are in thirds, where it's 33% professional jury, 33 demoscopic, and 33 televote. So I'm glad that they're trying this and seeing how it goes. But yeah, I don't think it's that shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess, and this is the first time they're doing it, so it's completely uncharted territory. They're going to see how it turns out, and it's a learning experience for all of us, even as viewers. We're finding out a lot. So so we haven't talked about one of the standout moments of the night, which was the return of Azucar Moreno, Brown Sugar, and their song Postureo. Sanya, what were your thoughts?
Not sure what are my thoughts. I expected when the song started. I have listened to it, of course, before tonight. But when I started watching their performance, the beginning was I don't know, promising. I thought, wow, this is going to be great. And how the song went to its end, my expectations just were dropping a bit. So I don't know. It was. I think they maybe they are, of course, the same as Azucar Moreno from that we remember from Zagreb. But if I have to compare Bandido and Postureo, I have to say I prefer Bandido a lot more. So I'm not sure when I want our favorite artists from some countries to come back to Eurovision, I want them to come with a stronger song, not with something just so they can appear again. So I'm not really sure I would. They lost their chances, but I'm not really sure that they needed to go to Eurovision with this song again. No problem if they want to. They can come next year in Benidorm again with something else. But this year, I'm afraid I wasn't a big fan of Postureo, unfortunately.
I think I was quite a big fan of the studio version, but I feel like something got lost in the conversion from studio to live. But I definitely
the song itself changed in the last few days. Some new version came out, and it's not the same that we'll listen to it on streaming services in the last days.
That's true. Yeah, they revamped it. No, they did. They did. Yeah. I enjoyed the song when I went into it. When I went into the show, I think that the real issue for me was that they were not choreographed enough, and by that I don't mean that they necessarily had to have the full kind of routine that their backing dancers had, but it just seemed like at moments they weren't really communicating well with each other, because we saw that at one point, I can't remember the names of. I know that one's Tonyin and the other is whatever. I'm not. I don't want to get it wrong. But anyway, one of them reached out to the other one, and Azucar and Morenno. One of them reached out to the other, and the other wasn't anticipating them to reach out to them. So it just seemed like they were a little lost in that respect. But you know, like kind of what you touched upon, Sanya, like they're icons. They don't really need to prove themselves again, and I think people are just kind of happy to see them. It would have been nice to have them in the final, but there were only 4 spots. Even with one of the acts dropping out, it's still, you know, we were going to lose 2, and I think that again, like between Azucar Moreno and Varry Brava, I was kind of thinking that it could go either way, but I do ultimately like that it was Varry Brava, whereas Unique, I think that they got what they deserved as far as not qualifying.
And there's one other act that we said goodbye to tonight, and that was Unique with their song Mejores. So Marius is saying that the dancers were so distracting, but they did kiss. So guys, what were your thoughts on Unique? To be honest, I'm not sure why that was happening. I have some questions, but guys, what do you think, Stu? Let us know.
So I don't really know much about the band, to be honest. The sudden kiss feels a little gay baiting, and that I'm really not a fan of.
I was falling for it.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I was like, no, Thomas, no.
Well, clearly it works. But yeah, that really wasn't my biggest issue. My biggest issue was that vocally they weren't where they needed to be. It wasn't bad, but you know, there were some obvious misses, I would say. And yeah, like the kind of package of a boy band, as we discussed when we talked about these entries the first time, it just seems a bit dated. And it seems that there's still a market for it in Spain, but I don't know. I don't know how appealing it is for people to have that kind of like fully choreographed, you know, super good-looking group of guys. And we did also raise the point that, you know, when it comes to K-pop, for example, because K-pop is obviously very big, but the cultural component that they bring is a little bit different to what Spain brings. And yeah, I just don't think that this song really ever had a chance, despite what some people who were betting on it might have had to say.
Yeah, it was high in the odds at one point.
Yeah, it was first.
Yeah.
Really? Overall,
yeah,
or within the semifinal?
No, overall, yeah, it was. I don't know if they did. Maybe they did separate it into semifinals, but there was one day when somebody had seemed to place a really big bet on them winning, and now they found out that that's not the case.
Yeah, that's the problem with betting odds, right? Yeah, so I don't know, what did I think? I mean, I thought if there's going to be a boy band in 2022, I guess this is what it would look like. It didn't look like it looked as contemporary as it could be, but I do agree with what you're saying, Stu. Like, how does a boy band fit into the music culture in 2022? It seems a bit dated, but I was surprised. It was a lot more than I was expecting. I did think that they would just be maybe standing around and not really have much choreography, but the choreography was pretty intense. And their vocals were actually a lot better. When hearing the vocals live compared to the studio version, really impressed me more than I had been impressed on the studio version. So it went up in my estimation, but was still not really towards the top of the list for me. But what did you think, Sonia?
It's a kind of a song I would expect more on a junior Eurovision maybe than on real adult Eurovision. And also I have to agree with Stu, it is a bit dated. And I think their stronger point was choreography than the song itself. And I always prefer the song, despite, I don't know, Chanel having the best staging tonight. She's still not my favorite. And also the great choreography elements couldn't, if you ask me, couldn't save Unique from not having so strong song. And I wrote here also, I was doing some notes when I was watching the show, and I also wrote Kiss. why?
Why?
But
Oh
why?
yeah.
It was
Kiss
so random. I
randomly.
don't know. I don't have a problem with them, with anyone kissing on stage. But
Mhm.
if they were singing some, I don't know, romantic ballad, and it's a moment when they feel they need to do it, okay. But I don't like when it's forced, for example. But I think they maybe wanted to do the Almaya effect, but it didn't succeed. When I think when Alfred and Amaya kissed in their national final a few years ago in Gala,
Mm.
they won a lot of points. But they had the whole story behind them. They were really a couple in Ote House and Academy and everything. But this was so random, spite of a second, just let's kiss and let's continue dancing. I don't know. It
Yeah,
didn't
there, there was
fit
an
the.
element of let's put all the tricks in this
Yeah,
performance,
yeah, yeah.
and
Let's
something's
just
gonna
put
land.
everything that could gain us votes, and I don't think that's the way to do it.
Which is kind of like what the general idea is when kind of coming up with the boy band. Like they were made for the purposes of marketing. They weren't necessarily made for the purposes of selling music. So yeah, not the approach. And I think that you really described it well, Sonia. It's the fact of where the kiss came up and why,
It
right?
came up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a shocking moment. But hello to everybody who's in the live chat. We're going to go to some of your comments, keep them coming in, your comments and your questions. And also, it's a good time to let you know to don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you stay up to date with all the videos that we're going to have ahead of Eurovision 2022, reactions, reviews, discussions, interviews, everything you're going to need. So let's go and have a look. So we have Tris 2000. So I felt it annoying that so much of Chanel's song was sung by backing track. I would like to see a backing singer on stage more than just oh, verisimilitude. Verisimilitude. I don't know what that word is.
Verisimilitude. Verisimilitude.
Okay.
Yeah, we can understand what you mean by that, but that's a very big word. Thank you for expanding our vocabulary tonight.
Yeah,
I
we
don't think
we
we
all have
expected that.
we all have some homework, so thank you for that. So we have Joselito, Varry y Chanel, saludos desde España, saludos
Saludos.
Joselito. So Lee Fern 40, typical boy band song. Not surprised they didn't make it. That's obviously in response to Unique. Yeah, we have another comment saying that they were a bit weak vocally. Also, another comment that Varry Brava was a little bit weak. So we have lots of different points of view on this. Carlos is with us. Buenas noches desde España. Buenas noches, Carlos.
Buenas
I hope you
noches.
enjoyed the first edition of your national final. We have Mora Sousa. So Tanchus need to win 12 points from Portugal, of course. Wow, well, it's nice to know that Portugal is getting behind Tanxungueiras. They definitely are going to be a favorite with Portuguese viewers. So looking forward already to tomorrow. We've got Marius who's talking about Jane, Rigoberta, Rayden, and also Sarah Diop. Guys, who are you looking forward to seeing tomorrow? Stu.
The one that I'm most excited for has to be Rigoberta because her song has really made such a tremendous impact. I love the message behind it. I love the musical elements behind it. And yeah, I'm just really excited for what it's going to look like. And I'm almost equally as excited for Rayden as well because I do love that song too. I'm just, especially with the momentum that's behind. Oh, thank you so much, Yusuf. The momentum that's behind I'm Mama. There's just such a question as to how this is going to go, and I really hope that it lives up to expectations. I think that it will, regardless of kind of uncertainties. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be very pleased.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to tomorrow, and I'm more excited having seen the show tonight. Especially, I saw a video of Rayden performing live on Instagram today, and he seems to have changed the I don't know the arrangement or the pitch or the octave. I'm not sure, but he seems to have a different vocal presentation. It looks awesome. I'm super excited to see it.
Mm.
Sanya, who are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Also, Rayden, I'm hoping to see how he translated the song from his music video. I think he said the staging won't resemble the music video. It would be different. So I'm really hoping to see how he makes it to how he translates the song to the stage. And also Rigoberta, I think she's one of the big fan favorites in advance. So I don't know. Maybe when talking about the songs, I'm a little more Rayden fan. But let's see what Rigoberta also brings tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. So, guys, final thoughts. Stu, what's your final thought based on everything we've seen tonight?
I'm very pleased. Well, to tell the story again. So the reason why I'm kind of involved with Eurovision, it has to do with when I was in Spain, when I was living where you're living right now, Tommy, in Barcelona. And I was, even though I had known about Eurovision before, like I got to experience it, and I got to experience the excitement of it while I was there. And since that point, I always thought, wouldn't it be nice to like really cheer for Spain, because the songs that I had seen were usually like okay, or sometimes I did like them, but they were never my favorites. Whereas like there's so many great choices in this selection this year, and we've seen 4 really great contenders move on to the final. I'm definitely confident that we'll get another 4 tomorrow. That I mean, there could be some upsets, but I'm pretty confident that it will be to most people's liking. And yeah, I'm just very pleased. It's great to be excited about Spain for the first time.
It is. It's really incredible what they've managed to achieve within a year. I mean, I think it was maybe August last year we had some press conferences and some news briefings about the fact that they were changing things up. They brought in Eva Mora and they had this plan. We didn't know what it was. And I feel like the expectation has just been building and building and building, and to see what they've realized, what they've accomplished within those few short months is absolutely incredible. Sanya, your final thoughts on tonight's show?
Yeah, I'm so happy we have the chance to watch a real proper Spanish national selection, and I think it's the strongest one so far. Maybe Sanremo can challenge it, but till so far it's the strongest national final. And I also think it's a really good job that they've done, their delegation, to make this selection happen, and to choose this 14 songs among, I don't know, 800 something. I'm sorry we couldn't, we won't be able to see Gonzalo Hermida tomorrow, and I'm sorry we couldn't have seen Luna Key tonight. But I don't know, I'll have most of these songs on my playlist after this Benidorm Fest, and I think they're making a path to something big, and this festival, I hope it's here to stay in the upcoming years. So a great
Really
job,
hope
Spain.
so. I really hope so. Great job, Spain. And with that said, it's getting past our bedtime over here in Europe. Stu, you still have some time left in your day to rewatch the performances. But with that said, we're going to do it all again tomorrow for semi-final 2, and we're heading towards the final on Saturday. It couldn't get any more exciting. So with that said, I will say good night to all of you guys. Have a good
Good
day.
night.
Buenas
Buenas noches.
noches. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Bye.